You know, when we talk about this notion of being a gay person of color, a gay man of color, you know, there are the stereotypes that it's hard, you know, that the, you know, something, and this is something I know that the movie touches on, you know, it's this idea of the taboo around being black and gay, or identifying as gay if you are black. Duran, I have to ask you, I mean, how much harder is it to come out as a man of color? And why do you think it's so hard?
Well, you're already a minority, so it makes it a little bit harder. You already have a double conscience. You're black and you're American. And also in the black community, there's a lot of hyper masculinity, and there's also the black church. Like, I didn't grow up very religious, but I did grow up around, you know, and I grew up around a lot of women, so it was a little bit easier for me to come out. But at the same time, I have a funny story. My mother is kind of like my father, so it was a lot harder to come out to her than my actual father. I actually never directly told my father. I'm not even sure if he knows or not, but we're friends on Facebook, so it was actually a lot harder to
You never told your dad, but you're friends on Facebook. Mother. So you're imagining that he knows just based on, like in Chase's case, he said that he knew all along.
Right. I mean, like, I am a journalist who focuses on pop culture and diversity and the intersection of LGBT people and women and people of color. So I imagine, since I post a lot of social media and viral media about those issues and topics, that he knows.
Yeah. So. Yola, what do you think? I mean, what's the hardest part about being, you know, black and gay and open about it?
Well, you know, I think it varies for a lot of different people, but I think that, like, kind of touching on what Duran said, is that there is the, you know, masculinity in America is very rigid itself, right? You know, we have a rigid, hardcore masculinity. And then when you're particularly African-American, there's a way in which, because of the history of slavery, the history of race in this country, that is even more rigid. And so when you kind of like come out as a queer person, there's a way in which historically that has not always been connected to blackness or black masculinity. It's like black masculinity is rigid, it's hard, it's tough. It's not like, you know, these things that are associated with gayness, which are associated with gayness, like vulnerability or softness, which, you know, those things are clearly not just how the gayness is defined, but that's how a public or the popular imagination kind of imagines it. And so it does become difficult to kind of like circumvent those stereotypes, not only within the black community, but also in the larger community as well, which, you know, also holds those kind of ideas.